Welcome to Port City Uncensored. This week, brought to you by Donna Gaines, your local realtor with PMZ Real Estate. And after you buy that new house, you're going to need David's cleanup service because your yard deserves better. And now, let's kick this motherfucker into gear.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Port City Uncensored. J-Man Jack in the house. I've got Scotty in studio with me. And let me pull up our special guest tonight. Probably the most, best-known face in Stockton right now. And, okay. All right. There we go. City councilman from District 6, star of Hollywood Unlocked, vice mayor, the one and only Jason Lee.
How are you?
We're doing great, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. Coming off of this cold, as I mentioned to you earlier, it was a bad one. So I hope everybody out there is being safe.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're glad you're here. And I want to start off by asking you the same thing that I asked the mayor when she was here. You took office in January. From then till now, is this what you expected? Where you expected to be?
I think when you're running for office and you tell people, what your platform is, and you get out there and you meet with voters and you ask them what they like to see as a priority, and you learn all of the various things that are happening. I mean, you kind of have an idea of what you're going to do when you get in, and then when you lift the veil and you see that there's a ton of things happening that you have to tackle all at once. It isn't exactly what I thought it would be, but it's been rewarding in many ways, challenging in others. But the work is getting done in the midst of a lot of the chaos, and I feel really good about it.
Okay. So would you say you're generally optimistic?
You know what? I'm generally an optimistic person in life anyway. I've had a very, those that know my story, I wrote a whole book about my Stockton journey, and, I've had a very challenging life. And I've had a lot of trials and tribulations, but I've had a lot of triumphs, and I've come through a lot of things. And so I just tend to look at the world in a very optimistic way. The alternative is that you never believe things will get better. And then inherently you manifest that energy that gives you the result that you're kind of seeking. I don't tend to think that way. So yeah, I've been very optimistic and still very optimistic.
All right. Now, digging into a few issues here, Scotty, we were talking a little bit before we went live here. You had brought up
cybersecurity. This is a big
okay.
So I have two questions, Mr. Lee. So, do you trust that whenever you say make a transaction online, send an email, take a photo, yada yada, that is secure and that nobody else can see that except for you and the intended recipient? Do you believe that is? Let's just pretend that nobody else is taking a look. Do you believe that?
I mean, are we talking about the Patriot Act? Are we talking about phishing? Are we
Oh, I don't
talking
mean like
about?
the NSA. I'm talking about like our point of view. Say that there's a city council meeting going on. There's a live stream. Everyone's watching. Yada yada. All of a sudden, that just gets hit with a DDoS attack, and now nobody can watch that. Now people are like, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be back up." But what if it never goes back up? Because hypothetically, let's say that okay, I'm gonna be honest. I think our infrastructure for IT for Stockton compared to like let's say San Francisco, not in terms of job markets or anything like that, in terms of like software, hardware stuff like that. I think we're severely lacking, and Stockton would be a very prime target for cybersecurity attacks or hacking attacks, and it has been. I believe Dameron Hospital, St. Joseph's, multiple other places have been hacked before. I believe it's a ransomware is where they hit you the hardest because it's like all our customer data, which is why I asked you is, do you believe it to be secure? Like, say you're doing something for a political event, like, hey, I need all my registers, donors, yada yada. I need you to give me this information, and like, say it's stored in a database because we need to see who voted for me, right? Who's doing this, who's doing that, and say that gets leaked or exposed because of some social engineering or someone just has a really, excuse my language, really fucking shitty security. And let's face it, a lot of people don't really know how bad it can get. I do because I study this for college. And that's why I find concerning is because I would hate for our city to get hit again by hackers. So I guess my suggestion would be here is that a lot of abandoned buildings, let's maybe, put some IT offices in there. So it's like, hey, we got people actively making sure a hospital doesn't get hit by ransomware. Nobody tries to blackmail anyone in our city council because their database got exposed or leaked, and now people have that information, like your social security number. I can tell you, people probably have already got that on the dark web. So that's just one aspect. What I'm trying to convey here is that how vulnerable, in your opinion, do you think we really are compared to other cities who have higher funding, more budgets, and I guess better cybersecurity? Because I know for a fact, if say something, let's say it happened to you, for example, if someone hits you with a ransomware attack on your computer and you had a bunch of sensitive files, all that stuff, who would you call exactly, Mr. Lee, in order to come and unfuck the situation? Because I know that if it happened to me, I couldn't call Stockton Police Department. They could make a complaint, but we all know that that's not really gonna solve the issue, right? So who do you turn to in matters of this?
In other words, how secure is our city's IT setup?
Yeah, there was a lot said in that. So let me unpack a couple of things. I don't live in conspiracy theories. I'm not going to talk about what I believe somebody will or won't do. I mean, there's a lot of crazy people that are also very creative. I work on the web and I work on the internet, and I'll just say that. And I know a lot of people in a lot of countries that do a lot of things. And I'm very familiar with how the internet works, and I'm very familiar with what you're talking about. I would say that, I feel very confident in the city's infrastructure. I'm very confident in the city's team. As far as voter database and all that, that's not housed at the city anyway. Employees, social media or social records or social security numbers and all that through our HR department. I feel very confident with the amount of infrastructure that they have there. I don't know the comparison to other cities because I don't work with the other cities. But look, I think that, with more resources, the city could do a lot of things better, and there's a lot more improvements that could happen. But that goes back to the original, or the question that was asked before we got on here about, what the city needs to do in order to be able to become the city that you're talking about in terms of stronger, safer, and healthier. It's going to require a lot more resourcing, right? And technology is advancing in the world of the web, and so, being able to stay up with the trends is important.
Okay.
You're right. And speaking of that, do you think that you could do your job more effectively without bureaucracy and red tape? Because I noticed you said that, hey, people vote you in, you're in, you know the issues, but now that you're uncovering all this, it's like, oh, so there's a lot more to it than that. So if there's less people saying no to you and a lot more people saying yes, we want to have this great vision of Stockton, would that make your job easier?
Is the question, would it make my job easier if people just said yes to me?
No, would that be fun like that? But my question be is, would your job be easier if
Would my
people
job be a lot
voted you?
easier if people say yes to me?
Oh
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
Do
it
I
would.
do
It
I
would,
do I
yeah.
want to be surrounded by, and am I surrounded by yes men all day? No. I like people who push back with if the intention of pushing back is to get to a better answer, right? I
Mm.
think I've said many times, and I think what people have seen for me so far is I'm not a politician. I'm an elected official. I'm not somebody that politics. I'm very much playing the game, as you would say. But I say to everybody, it's not just about counting to four. It's making sure that every vote counts. If you look at my legislative record when I got in, I've made some errors in the very early stages of my political life in Stockton, and I'm learning. And I'll be very transparent about that. That there is no real training wheel that gets put on a person when they assume office, right? And but you have to be humble enough to acknowledge when you have shortcomings or when you fall short of the mark. And I think that um, what I've learned about Stockton politics, which is quite unfortunate, is that it's more emotional driven and more personal driven than being practical, right? Like I'm a very practical person. I don't look at Democrat, Republican, right, left, gay, straight, white, black. I look at the issue, how it impacts everybody, who's excluded and how do we include them? How do we set a table for everybody to have an equitable experience or access? And how do we be as transparent as possible and not use transparency as a talking point to just win a conversation? But I'm also one person, right? So going back to what we talked about earlier, if you have a bunch of yes people around you, that are just saying yes to be popular, to be standing next to what looks popular or shiny at the time, that all is that's not gonna work in the long term because people aren't stupid. And this is why it's important to do shows like this and have conversations about local issues and be very open and honest and accountable. I think I said to you guys when we were setting this up, ask me any question you want. I don't care. Is people really want to get down to the facts as a person sees them and be able to sit back and watch the show and judge if they're being honest or not. So I don't like a yes man. I think that that's a sign of weakness. And I like people who will push back creatively, but with the intention to get to a better solution.
How about loyal?
What is loyalty in politics? Come on now. What is that?
This goes beyond
Lo-
politics.
you know,
What day
what
is
I
it
would
today?
what I would say is, the importance to me of loyalty is being loyal to the people that put you there, right? The people who voted for me in District 6, even though I governed the whole city with my colleagues, I always think about the people whose doors we knocked on, who I actually asked to earn their trust all the time. And so I'm always thinking of this woman in Western Ranch who told me that she was only voting for me because she believed in me, but hadn't voted for anybody else because she hates Stockton politics, or meeting people who are just so angry at the lies that they believe, and I'm saying their words, that they've been told over the years, that they just were apathetic. My whole campaign was about making people want to believe again and want to vote again because I'm not going to be there forever. So when I do leave, hopefully they feel like they got their votes worth and now understand their responsibility to keep holding elected officials accountable.
Awesome. We've joined on screen here with Alex and Nelson, and I believe you met Nelson briefly at the event the other week.
Nice to see you, Jason.
Good to see you too.
And I know Nelson has some questions for you.
So
Sure.
actually, let's start off with like a simple one. Do you plan on running for vice mayor or mayor in your next term? For a second term?
What's interesting? It's going back to the voters. One of the things I heard very loudly from people was, "Are you using this as a stepping stone to something bigger?" I don't think there's anything bigger in the future for me other than the work that I'm doing right now. I try to keep my blinders on and keep my eye on the prize of what I've promised people: economic development, youth programming, safer, cleaner community. And so I don't have any ambitions to be the mayor. In fact, I came in being very clear that I did not want to be the mayor of Stockton. If I wanted to be the mayor, I would have ran for mayor. I would have funded my own campaign for that. I really like being the District 6 council person because my intention in running was to make my community, my hood, better than it was before and when I was growing up. I don't have any vision of being the mayor. Vice mayor is a 2-year appointment by the mayor. After 2 years, she gets to either reappoint me or appoint somebody else. And, I'll trust whatever decision she makes when that time comes.
So let's say that the 2 years conclude, right? You're still going to be responsible for District 6, or do you need to run for re-election in District 6?
No, I'll still be the council member for District 6 for four total years.
Okay. And then my second question is, let's say as a vice mayor, you're not able to accomplish what it is that you've set out to accomplish. How strong is your relationship with Mayor Christina Fagazi? Do you think it is possible that you get a second appointment as vice mayor?
Well, let me first start by saying that I absolutely rebuke the idea that I won't do what I said I'm going to do. I'm a man on a mission, and when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and when I say I'm going to get the job, I'm going to get it done.
Oh, I have no doubt that you will
Yeah,
accomplish
yeah. No, no.
what you set
I'm
out.
not
What
saying
I'm
that
saying
that
is, what if you
I'm
don't
just
have
being
the
funny.
time?
I'm being funny in my rebuking. But let me say this, right? Whether I decide to run a second term or not, there will always be a plan. I came into office developing a 10-year development plan for my district. So there's economic development strategies and things being put in place that go for the next 10 years, right? Because nothing's going to change overnight. So it's going to take some time, right? The first 9 or 8 months or so, 9 months has been really getting things organized, really, meeting all the players and setting things up. And we've done a lot with the Clean City Initiative, the Light Up Stockton Initiative, turn on all the lights in the underpass in District 6, being able to put together the economic development plan, like I talked about, the 2 police substations that are coming. I mean, so we've done a lot of work already, but no, there's a 10-year plan being put in place that whoever follows me or if I continue on in this role, the work will continue continue. As far as my relationship with the mayor and whatever decision she decides to do, let's be clear that when I came in and agreed to be her vice mayor, I really looked at it as a partnership where, I want to see her do 2 terms. And when we got in office, the idea was she would do 2 terms. I would set up the support system to bring in all my relationships and resources behind her and with the rest of my colleagues. So that way we could have a successful experience. We've had some rocky roads over the last few months, and those roads are becoming less rocky, which is great. But again, there's no training wheels to this role, and we got thrown in there. We have 7 different leaders with 7 different personalities who all have an idea of what a better Stockton looks like. It takes time to mold it into a workable plan.
No, I 100% agree. And there's a lot of personalities and egos, especially in Stockton politics, that, like you've clearly experienced, that kind of work against one another, if I'm not mistaken. So far, in your first 9 months, how proud are you of your time? What have you changed? And what are you looking forward to changing heading into 2026?
Great question. I mean, yeah, I'm extremely proud of the work. I mean, my career as an entertainer, my day job as an entertainer, most people think the chaos is something that I wanted, the reality show and then all this and that. I didn't come in. And in fact, I'll be very clear. If you look at my day job and you look at my work at City Hall, the temperature are 2 different people. I could turn it up. I could be, very, very disruptive if I wanted to be, but I realize that kids are watching, their families are expecting more of me, and I have a lot of work to do in my district and in the city. And I didn't come and move back home and jump into the political arena for that. That's not I don't want to be a part of a sideshow, although I've become a part of one. I think the work that we've done, like I said, being able to we hear very clearly from my district that they wanted police substations and work with the mayor and the council to deliver that. To be able to turn on the lights on the underpass, that is something has been promised for I don't know how long, to create a safer experience going down Charterway or Martin Luther King Boulevard, is something that we did in the first 60 days with the Light Up Stockton initiative. And even just cleaning up the district. I mean, for mothers to send me videos of their kids saying, "Mom, my neighborhood has looked so clean. I haven't seen it like that." I mean, that matters to folks, right? Showing people that that City Hall can be accountable to them, making sure that I'm meeting with OVP and the police department when I hear that young kids are being murdered or killing each other, and really, sitting down with the families and trying to comfort them, but also look to solutions. I've met with every gang in the city to learn, how we as a city should be not only holding them accountable, but investing in communities that are marginalized and haven't had access to resources and may feel that they've been forgotten. So there's been a lot of work done that I'm proud of, but there's a lot more work to do.
So, what was that experience like meeting with different gangs in Stockton?
I mean, I grew up around the gangs. When you grow up on South Stockton, I mean, I got shot at 15. My brother got murdered when I was 19. And a lot of my cousins have been on both sides of it. One of my cousins is one of the leading healthcare folks in the city who led the nursing program over at St. Joseph's for 26 years and now is at Kaiser. And some of my cousins are in the streets. I it's been interesting that when I go and I meet with all the different gangs, I've met with the Asian gangs, the Hispanic gangs, I met with the black folks. When I meet with the people, they're really just shocked that an elected official wants to sit down and ask them, how do we partner to reduce crime and increase
I love
resource
that.
in their neighborhood? And they actually appreciate, having that kind of experience. On the other hand, I've also recommended that the city develop a no face cover ordinance because there's no snow in Stockton, so you don't need a ski mask. You don't need to run around with ski masks. You don't need to go in the mall with a ski mask. You don't need to come into business with a ski mask. And one of the gang members, it was interesting hearing his perspective because he said, "Well, you do realize that if I come outside with my kid without a mask on, people are going to know who I am." I said, "Well, shit, you shouldn't be a gang member then. You shouldn't be out shooting people. I mean, it's not hide and seek and it's not Halloween. There's no reason to have a mask." So, of course, working through sensitive stuff like that to make sure no profiling happens, because our police department has done a phenomenal job of increasing safety in the city and, and addressing those things. But I think that everybody in Stockton, including those who are part of the problem, want a stronger, safer city. But I mean, I've said many times, if you put a bunch of raw meat on the floor and you let two starving dogs in the room, what are they going to do? They're going to kill each other to eat because it's survival at this point. And I think that Stockton city officials, and this is why we have to put all the politics and all the bullshit aside and really focus on the solutions that prevent those type of experiences happening, because 13-year-olds killing 17-year-olds and 17, 18, 19-year-olds getting killed on a regular basis is insane to me. And we just have to do a better job to address the needs of those people.
What are some of the needs that have been addressed to you by those communities?
Well, I think better sustainable jobs. I mean, when you look at the homelessness rate, the pit count doubled in the last 2 years. So you have
Yeah.
all these people living on the streets, right? But I'm also concerned about the people who are on the verge of homelessness. So me and Councilman Mariquez literally met at my office last week to talk about what our housing policies are going to look like. How do we start addressing the needs of people who are on the verge of being kicked out of their homes? There are people who have good paying jobs, but the housing market's so high that they still can barely keep up. You look at the food banks, losing all their funding, not having access to food. We got to make sure that the farmers in the community who are doing the work of growing our food can actually get to the tables of people who are hungry. And I think that if you create jobs, if you create pathways to home ownership, if you have more low income or affordable housing in my district, so that way people look at that as a stepping stone into permanent housing or into being able to have home ownership, people start to feel like they have things to work towards. Then it could be a more livable, safer community. But again, there's a lot of work that has to be done to make that happen.
So,
Okay, if I might ask something here on that point, one of the things you talked about during your campaign is, I believe you said you want to go around in District 6, your district, and kind of do an inventory of the empty buildings, the unoccupied spots. And maybe if you can give us an update on that, on what you found in your district and I know you passed the ordinance not too long ago. The fee for the non-occupied building owners and stuff. But yeah, you can give us an update on what you found in your district and
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah,
going.
that's a great question. First, I want to give the mayor her props because she's the one that started the vacancy building ordinance when she was on council before, and she had kind of mentioned to me on the side that she that had happened, and so I'm a member of the Ledge Committee, and I'm also the chair of the Audit Committee. So once I heard that she had started that work, we just picked up the baton and kept it running and passed that. So when we first started, to your point, Jack, I actually thought I was just going to look at my district and make an assessment. We ended up going citywide. At first, we thought we had 250 vacant buildings. Now I believe it's somewhere upwards towards 800. I don't know the exact number, but it's
I remember that. Yeah.
hundreds of vacant buildings. But we're also finding vacant lots, like in my district where they got rid of the big box store ban. People want a big box store out there in Western Ranch. Well, Walmart's been sitting on a lot for a long time. So we also look at vacant lots, and that's why we're considering a vacancy tax for to go on the ballot in 2026. I mean, but in my district, there's so many vacant buildings, and that we've been working with code enforcement to make sure businesses are cleaning up the neighborhoods, cleaning up the trash. People have multiple cars on lawns and all different things. I mean, we're trying to really work hard to get it cleaned up, but also to make sure that if there are vacant buildings, that people either use them, donate them, or sell them, so that way we can bring more businesses and more opportunity to the district.
Right. Yeah. And on that note, I want to talk a little bit about bringing business here. I know that's something that's close to your heart. You're wanting to bring partners, into Stockton
You
here.
mean like wilding out, Jack?
Well, okay, yeah, for among other things, but yeah, you've talked a lot about wanting to get some economic revitalization going here, and I know that one of the things I hear a lot. I seem to have an appeal to the male 20-something demographic, and one of the things I consistently hear from these guys is jobs. You know, they can't find jobs around here, or they certainly can't find like good jobs around here. Like they're going to San Francisco or down to Silicon Valley, if they've got something involved in technology or along those lines. And but I hear all the time they can't get a call back from Home Depot or a grocery outlet or Target or any of these places around here. And so so yeah, that seems to be, the status quo. And
So can I actually add
yeah.
on to Jack's point? Because I'm actually 26, about to be 27 here in October. I lost my job back in February. I was a data technician at Meta over in the Bay Area. I've been doing that for about 2.5 years at that point. Basically, I bought my house out here in Stockton, but over the last 5 years that I've been out here in Stockton, I've had to commute to the Bay Area for work. Recently, because I am now a father of two beautiful baby girls, I was trying to find work here in Stockton, but I couldn't get a call back. I walked in, I've applied, I handed in my resume, but I couldn't get a call back from a Lowe's, from a Walgreens, from a gym, from Choose Fitness, Planet Fitness, any of the gyms. I went to about 20 different locations, and some said that they were hiring, but nobody would give me a call back. Why are jobs so hard to come by in Stockton? Having me being having a resume and a career, having issues just finding work out here. And why? Obviously, I understand why tech companies don't want to come out here to Stockton, mainly because it's not up to code of where the city should be.
Give me 1 second, 1 second, 1 second.
Now wait till you get my opinion. I'm younger than you,
Be,
Nelson.
be quiet.
Oh, doggies.
I'm sorry, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
My
no,
dogs.
we could hear
Okay.
you.
I
Like,
heard everything you said.
Right.
Let me go back to Jack's point and then I'll work my way to you.
I
And this
appreciate you,
is
Jason.
why I love this question. I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur who started a company from $0 in an Instagram, literally in a studio apartment. Everybody that follows me online has watched my interviews. They read my book. They know my story. And I built it from from $100 in an Instagram, literally $100 bill, sitting in the room with my friend, like, what we gonna do for the week? We only got $100, and built it into a $50 million company and growing. And let me tell you, it was very hard. So there's a couple things. One, this is where, as a business person, when I come to City Hall, I come in as an entrepreneur and as a business person who looks at the city as a business. How do we grow the local economy? How do we attract business to the city? I want to use Wild 'N Out, if I can, for a second as an example. Wild 'N Out, when I became the chair of the audit committee, I looked at our facilities. Our venues right now are $3.7 million in the deficit, meaning we're pulling from the general fund $3.7 million of taxpayer money just to keep the lights on in our buildings, right? That's crazy. Anytime you're upside down when you look at a balance sheet, you're like, wait, my profit and loss, my balance sheet isn't balancing. Like, how do I fix that? So I started looking at how can we grow our local entertainment business in order to make more people come to the city from outside to bring in more economic stimulation. How can we create more events that would then require the people to create more jobs for people, right? If you have facilities that need security, need vendors, need construction workers or site builders or light technicians, that creates local jobs. If you have consistent work, you're going to have consistent opportunity. So when we met and we started to understand some of the complexities with the local market, finance, whatever, economy, safety, I don't look at anything as a one-pronged approach. Like, okay, I got to bring more jobs. Well, you have to create a safer, healthier, stronger economy. That way it makes sense to bring the jobs. So I said, why don't we try to bring Wild 'N Out or an entertainment hit? So I introduced them to people. Wild 'N Out came. If you look at it, the city used $50,000 of its risk mitigation fund in order to keep the event there. The event ended up creating $640,000 of economic impact to the community, which means they got a 12-time multiple on their investment, which makes sense in doing business, right? But what they did was, and this goes back to the problems when you say, is this what I expected? You don't expect people to be so stupid that they mess up a good opportunity and turn it into a political weapon against somebody in order to win a fight. Because what it does is it scares away FIFA, who I brought to the table. FIFA wants to come bring a team. That would create jobs. That would create as local economic
Is it
growth.
an MLS team or an
Not
NWSL
an
team?
MLS team. Like just like we have a G League team with the Kings, it would bring a smaller team, but
Okay, so it's
still
like a USL team. It's like a USL team, probably.
correct. But in doing so, this is what FIFA said. We don't just want to bring a team. We want to be able to come to a community where our partners can invest in economic development. So we want to build housing. We want to build commercial real estate. We want to build hotels. We would love to figure out how we can help build the downtown landscape. That is what creates jobs. That's what stimulates the market. That's what makes people go, oh my God, Stockton's on the rise. So how do we turn downtown into a space where the restaurants and the bars, you could do bar crawls, you could have live music. You know, my vision for the city isn't just District 6. It's how can we create jobs for people like you who don't want to drive all the way to the Bay, who want to go right downtown to work or right over here to work. But the problem with Stockton politics, which I will learn, and I'm trying to connect this all to your question. People are so caught up in the politics of the work and the political gain and the fighting and the distractions that it scares people away who want to come and provide the very solution to the question that you just asked. But the thing that I will say is that the reason why I talk so openly about some of our challenges because I want people to be able to learn more about how the local government works or is not working. Because although wilding out and the whole bullshit investigation is such a distraction, I just told FIFA, like, hey, we're still going to get this on track. We're still going to come to the city. We're still going to build. And, you know, we're setting a meeting for next week for them to come and actually come back for their second trip to really survey the downtown area about how we can create opportunity. And I'm going to keep fighting with people if they don't want to partner to bring these type of opportunities because this is the commitment that I made and I'm not going to go back on that.
That's awesome, man.
Wow, that's a lot of the. You know, we talked about this numerous times about the downtown waterfront area. You know, I'm speaking to someone that grew up on the Jersey Shore, also lived in San Diego, so I know what's possible in an area like this. And quite
It's so
honestly, a little myth
beautiful, right?
why it hasn't been done already. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of room there to develop. And yeah, I certainly applaud your efforts for trying to bring people here and move in that direction. I
Well,
mean,
but listen, Jack, and I'll say this: I talked to the mayor today. I'm still optimistic that we're going to do that because, to your point, when you hear about Stockton outside of Stockton and coming from the Jersey Shore, I don't have to tell you how amazing that is and how big that's been for that community. And it's a place that makes people from out of town want to go to Jersey to visit. Right?
mhm.
Here's the thing: I'm still very optimistic and speaking with the mayor about some of these ideas. She knows FIFA's coming and she has her ideas and all that. And I'm still very optimistic about it. But I'll use another example of something I did even before I got elected. Once I realized what that I was actually going to put my name in the hat and actually do it, before I even got elected, a friend of mine, his name is Mark Fawcett. He's over the B-Chip Prop 1 money for the state that the governor put him in charge of, where they were funding $6.3 billion of mental health programming across the state. Now, people can say whatever they want about whether they like Gavin, don't like Gavin, like the B-Chip money, don't like the B-Chip money. I look at it like this. Whether you're Trump, whether you're Gavin, whether whoever you are, if you got money, we can figure out how to get it. Let's figure out how to put all our differences aside to get the money. I don't like leaving money on the table. In fact, that's what the mayor says. Even before I got elected, I brought him to Stockton over in Western Ranch Library, and I introduced him to all the system leaders, nonprofit people, anybody that wanted to come, city, county, everything. Now, the city at the time was fighting me, not wanting me to win. So they were so turning their nose up at the opportunity that they were like, we don't need to go to that. We know everybody at the state, da 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 da. Genevieve Valentine from the county and Paul Canepa from the county. I was introduced to them by introduced to Genevieve by Pat Barrett. I brought them to the meeting. I introduced Mark and Genevieve. They stayed together. We went all across the state looking at facilities, looking at programs. Genevieve got $132 million from Mark, the biggest grant the county's ever got for the Be Well campus. We just broke ground on it the other day. And guess what that's going to do over the next 2 years? Create lots of prevail wage jobs. And that is exactly what we should be doing at the city. But people have to be able to put their egos aside and be able to be like, yo, what's the opportunity? Because this is how I look at it. Whether I brought Mark or whether the mayor brings Mark, or whether Brando brings Mark. It doesn't matter. We just need the Marks to bring the money so we can create the opportunity. Whoever gets the credit don't matter, because shit, I'm gonna be lit whether I get the credit or not. And I think that
Love you,
we're
bro.
learning as a city that we got to put our egos aside to really have these wins.
Awesome. I got a couple of like tough questions. I kind of want to ask you.
Go ahead.
Um, so this isn't necessarily about Stockton politics.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Jimmy Kimmel's cancellation or suspension and the Charlie Kirk situation? I told you this is a hard one.
This is not a hard
My
question. This is not a hard question because I saw Jack say "fuck Jimmy Kimmel." Listen, I don't. There's no hard question. Let me first start by saying that I was just on the Jimmy Kimmel show like a couple weeks ago because everybody in the world thought me and Tiffany Haddish were having a baby. It wasn't a lie. It was just a joke. I didn't know the whole world was going to go crazy.
Oh,
Um,
you're having a baby with Tiffany Haddish?
no, no, no.
Oh,
I
oh,
posted the photo to get the whole world talking to show how gullible people are on the internet, and it ended up with me going to Jimmy Kimmel. Let me say this. Let me say this. I am somebody who was the head of media and partnerships for Kanye West, a person who owns a media company, a person who's traveled the world, and I've been to Dubai where social media is not acceptable and you can't even take pictures of people without permission, and I've been in places where people say the craziest things, right? Democracy and free speech in some ways people could say is it's just too much. But I am not a fan of living in a country where people are um censored or canceled because they say something. For example, I feel like Jack can get online and say fuck Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel could get on TV and say fuck Charlie Kirk. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It just means that they have the free speech to do it. Now, here's the
it
deal.
doesn't mean you could lose your life, right?
Well, I don't think I should get shot at 15. I don't think my brother should have got murdered at 19. I don't think that Charlie Kirk deserved to get murdered. I don't believe the kid in Mississippi should have been hung in a tree. I don't believe that people should be killed or even jailed because they believe something different than me. Now, I can tell you, I just had Candace Owens on my show, and I had Jasmine Crockett on my show. I had Robert Kennedy on my show. I've had Cardi B on my show. I love talking to people, and I love people to be able to have the freedom to say what they want. I think that right now we live in a hypersensitive world where there's so much noise and so much going on that people have lost the respect for people being individuals and having free speech rights, but also being able to do so in a manner that doesn't get you murdered, you know?
Do you think if we had a system that more respected individual rights instead of playing to groups and groupthink and using that to divide us, uh, that we'd be in a better spot?
Absolutely. I think and that applies to all sides, right? Like I will tell you I am and I rarely say this because what I love about Stockton politics is supposed to be nonpartisan.
Uh huh.
I it's supposed to be nonpartisan, you
Yeah,
know.
sure. And
Um,
Sonny Bono was a good skier.
Listen, it's supposed to be
Fair
nonpartisan.
point.
I will tell you, I am registered as a Democrat, but I'm a blue dog Democrat where, financially, if you look at my business and how my bank account is stacked up, I'm in a tax bracket that I feel like taxes are just crazy, right? Do I feel like our state is as safe as it can be and our rights as gun owners are protected? No. I think that this is an unsafe state. I think that I should be, if you come in my house, whether you come in to bring me a cake or you come in with a gun, if I didn't invite you in my home and you got in without permission, I should be able to kill you. That's just what I believe. But I think that to Jack's point, right now, everybody is pandering to groups, and all it's doing is furthering dividing us. And that was the beauty of what I thought I was running for. Just come to Stockton politics. It's just nonpartisan. We look at the issues. When I do feel like there is a lot of noise that does divide us more than it does unify us, and that's the sad part about the world we're living in right now because shit, everybody's hurting, and even if you got money, you hurting nowadays because everything is impacted by tariffs and everything else. But we have to turn the noise down as much as we can and try to find common ground.
Right. And to that point, the individual versus group thing. to me, and it don't matter what group you're talking about. It could be black people, gay people, union working people, or whatever. Okay, what are all those groups made up of? Individuals within that group, and I've oftentimes okay, I caught heat from someone one time for a position I took, and for some reason this gal said, Jack, you're a veteran. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for feeling like that. It's like, what does my being a veteran have to do with it? You think all veterans think alike? You think we're all alike? That
sounds like a fucking Karen.
I mean, it's when you approach people like that, you're actually doing a disservice to that group and insulting the intelligence of every individual in that group. Because no matter what group it is, I guarantee you go in there and start talking to individuals, you're going to get different opinions on different issues and different feelings about things from these folks. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, when I talk to, the Filipino ladies who do Zumba at the park in my neighborhood, or I talk to a homeless white kid standing outside of Starbucks asking me for money, or I talk to a group of black gang members from South Stockton, or I talk to, some folks from our immigrant community who are concerned about ICE. I'm literally trying to get to the heart of what the need is from every individual person, right? And there's a common thread between all of us. People who have kids all want their kids to go home, to go to school and come home without dying. Go to school and get the best education, come home and be able to have proper nourishment and be able to have a safe experience in the city. People want to be able to find jobs so that way they don't have to go out, steal, kill, or rob their neighbors. And look, that's very complicated how you get there when you are in the midst of a lot of people who have a lot of individual thought needs and all that. I'm one that doesn't believe that anybody should tell a woman what to do with her body, but I'm not going to go out there and kill people to believe that what I believe, but I'm going to tell people that that's what I believe. And I feel like as long as we can start finding a way of appreciating diversity more, instead of saying, if you don't agree with me, you're the enemy, and if you don't agree with me, we can't talk or can't even be friends. I mean, I think that's just crazy. And I look at our council and I really try hard, even if it doesn't look like it at times. I really do try hard to find a way to build a thread between all of us. But there are just some things I won't agree with, or some things in terms of how we approach a matter, or how we exclude people, or how we take sides. I'm just not ever going to be that guy. But again, I go back to the optimism that it will get better.
Right. Awesome. Well, Jason, we're coming up on the 45-minute mark. I know you're got to cut out here soon.
I could go a little longer. I'll just have to rush.
All right. Well, if it's okay, I want to meet our obligations here for a quick moment.
I
Sure.
do have a couple more questions for you.
All right. Well, hold the
do your
thought, and we'll be right back. And let's take care.
In a world drowning in debris, where old mattresses lie like forgotten secrets and tree branches whisper of chaos, there's a hero waiting to spring into action. David's Cleanup Service, the name that echoes through Stockton's cluttered streets. Specializing in fall and winter cleanups, David's ready to tackle junk, yard waste, appliances, hot tubs, you name it. Your yard deserves better. Whether it's mowing, trimming, or weeding, we've got your back. And listen up, free estimates and discounts for seniors and veterans, because everyone deserves a clean slate. So if you're in Stockton, Lodi, or Manteca, don't let the mess linger. Call or text David now at 209-546-2746. That's 209-546-2746. 209-546-2746. And clean up your life today.
Hey guys, I'm here in Stockton today, and I'm with Donna. We're at this beautiful house in North Stockton, and some lucky buyer is going to be walking away with it. Imagine having a brand new place to live. Donna, somebody's looking for a house. What do they got to do?
Give me a call, and we will get you pre-qualified, look for you a home, and then do the process of closing.
All right, and to get this ball rolling, I know they got to talk to you. How do we get hold of you?
At 209-301-5193 or at dgaines@pmz.com.
All right, thank you, Donna. Hey guys, back to the show. All right. Hey, Scotty. Scotty has a question.
What was my question again? Oh yeah. So I know I sound like a very schizo paranoid guy when I talk about like this whole computer cybersecurity shenanigans, but I'm just like I gotta look out for everybody, right? So my question being,
We need a guy like him on our team.
we live in an age where, okay, I'll just try and say it. I can impersonate someone you know's voice. I can impersonate their email, their number, whatever way, digital form that they exist in, that they use to contact you. Someone like me can impersonate that. Well, someone way more talented, skilled can use that for nefarious purposes because artificial intelligence, right? So it's not like I'll put it like this: your voice is out there on many tips, other clips, YouTube. Someone could just take it, analyze it, make a modulator. Now they sound like you. Then they can spoof your number, and then they can like I don't know, call and pretend to say, hey, I need my email access, yada yada. And then someone who works for you that's under your IT department would be like, oh shit, this is Jason Lee. I should probably do what he says because he sounds just like him. He's calling from his number. This all checks out. Okay, here you go. Here's the login information, and it goes to hell from there. So my point being is that I think Stockton would greatly benefit from IT jobs, security stuff. Pretty much that's the future. And if I'm lying, then only look around you and turn on the news. Is how much do we depend on technology, right? It's a window, babe, because you can look out, but people can look in. So I leave you with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think people do things every day. I mean, listen, the stuff that you're talking about, the people that I know who work in the web, on the internet, they don't talk about it, and I wouldn't be talking about it because I would be very careful. But people are going to do whatever they're going to do, and that's why there's a lot of people who commit cyber crimes and are found and are prosecuted. I'm not really concerned about anybody developing an AI tool, using my phone number, calling, mirroring my identity. I mean, if that's something that somebody wants to do, I mean, I'm a person that steps up to a camera, that's pulls up to a podcast and is very vocal in saying what I do or don't do, and people, you can't replace the real thing. So are people going to play on the internet? Yes. Are people going to do dark web things? Yes. Are there consequences for that? Yes. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't work in the IT department. I will say I think that the city's infrastructure is good, and if somebody hacks it and proves otherwise, I mean, I'm assuming will be consequences for that.
I think you misinterpreted my point. It wasn't about you. It's about everyone closest to you. The people you have, what's it called? People under you, your citizens, for example. You might be secure, but they're not. The average Joe is not going to know the shit I'm talking about. But you did, as you just said. The
Mhm.
people you know in your security, well, that's because when you get to where Jason Lee is, you're going to know people like that. My point being, what about everyone who doesn't know everything you do? What about people who are in a way completely different life? The average Walmart American who's flipping burgers at McDonald's is going to know this shit, but they're going to vote for you, right? So I think they deserve the same protection you do. I'm saying, how can we offer that?
What's your suggestion?
My suggestion, like I was saying, is all those empty buildings you turn into little offices for people like me
Who buys the building?
who buys the building. The city. The city does.
Where does the money come from?
Well, that's up to people you empower to do
No,
all
no,
that.
no, no, no. You can't throw out a problem and then try to backpedal when it comes to solution. The reality is we cut $15.2 million from the budget, and the budget's still almost $1 billion budget. With again, in an ideal world, if we have this big pot of monopoly money to play with at City Hall, we can do something like that, right? Everything costs money. Cleaning up the city costs money. Removing graffiti costs money. Picking up dead dogs costs money. Turning on the lights costs money. Everything costs money. Even if everybody donated the 800 plus vacant buildings to us, how are we going to turn on the lights, the water? How are we going to service it? How are we going to pick up the trash? All that costs money. So, in an ideal world, I think to the guy in the bottom box, King MPV, what's your name?
Nelson.
Nelson, driving all the way to the Bay Area to do a job at Meta when we should be able to create a digital infrastructure or a tech based infrastructure in our city where people can do tech jobs there. To your point, it's something that we should do or we should want to do, right? But again, we have to grow the local economy. We have to make sure that we're creating that revenue. We have to make sure that we create sustainable jobs and that people locally, like yourself, that seems very well versed in the web, have the skills to be able to take those jobs when they're available.
Right. On that point, when I was up in Oregon here recently, I have family in the semiconductor industry, and we were brainstorming, and I brought up the fact that Stockton, would like to have some tech jobs here, and what would be the best way to go about it, and basically, I was told that it might be hard to get the big fish here, like a big leader like a Google or a company like that size. However, there are always startups. Okay, and startups eventually get bought out by the bigger fish. So if you had, let's say if we had something to incentivize startups to come here to get into some of those empty buildings and make use of them. Eventually, once they become successful, now the big fish are going to come in and acquire them. Now you got the big fish here, because when they do acquire the smaller guys, generally they're going to look to get, we need more office space, like my son's company just did in Oregon. They moved together there, and they bought one building, and they bought the other big building on the other side of the freeway because they needed it, and then they actually added another campus elsewhere in Portland. But the point being is that you start with the startups, make it friendly for them to come here, and you get a couple of them successful. Now you're going to get the big players coming in, and they're going to want more office space or some warehouse space, and now they're expanding here. All right, your thoughts on that idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's interesting. We just passed the CESIP extension and reduced the extension to 5 years, where there were some fee waivers for development, mostly residential, in the city. And we were having a conversation. I was having a conversation with the economic and community development team, saying in my district, I don't just want to put warehousing out there, because as we know, environmentally, there's a lot of challenges in District 6 with asthma rates and stuff like that. But how do we create an enticing program where that 10-year plan I talked about in building out the district with annexing and being able to bring in more businesses? How do we make it enticing for businesses to want to do business there? But the thing that people have to understand too is the thing that really helps to grow the local economy is businesses that create sales tax, right? So like we have to make sure that we're looking at a balance of all of that, where you do have the buildings where a Google or whoever, just use Google as an example because that's an example that you gave, would want to maybe create an incubating, business there or whatever. I think to your point, just stripping down the conversation in terms of a specific type of business, let me just say this. In business in general, the city has to be creative in how we entice people to want to come and build and grow and develop. And whether there's an acquisition, a sale, a merger, whatever down the line, we do have to let people know that we're open for business and we will work with you. I think historically there's been lots of challenges in the city with the business and permitting and licensing that's made it hard for businesses to start in Stockton. We had a conversation today about how we start to evaluate those processes to streamline it, to make it more accessible and easier for people to do business in the city. And to your point, I think that when people know that it's easier, more efficient, and effective to do business in Stockton, they'll bring those ideas there. Even some of the other ideas, I said we should have something that says Stockton someplace special on both ends of the city. So when you come in, it feels welcoming and it feels like a place where you want to stop, spend money, build a business, or buy a home.
And I think that's actually like the biggest issue. Like a lot of these startup companies, they tend to be in like the Bay Area or places that are closer to areas that like feel a lot more homely or like have things to do in like downtown. A lot of startups like to be in areas that are essentially they feel safe in. Right now, the way Stockton currently is, we can't necessarily say it's a safe space for companies to come in. like Google or small startup tech companies, even if we do incentivize it. At least that's my opinion, because I've been working in this field since I was about 19 years old. I've seen what a lot of startup because my background is literally multiple startup companies until I got my big break to go and work at Meta. I've worked at Tesla. Right now I'm working at OpenAI, doing robotics over there. They're the ones responsible for ChatGPT. So that's kind of what I've seen the trend be with a lot of these tech companies, or at least these small tech companies. One of my first roles was for Verkada, which is one of the biggest security-based physical security companies in the industry right now. I think they're worth over $6 billion at this point. And what I saw from them is like they chose San Mateo just because it was a nice community. There was a lot of things to do downtown. There was like a movie theater. A lot of those things go into companies ultimately making the decision to bring themselves here to Stockton. And one of the things that you did point out was trying to refurbish and make downtown more livelier. And those things themselves, I think, will ultimately bring bigger companies into Stockton and help with the economy, hopefully within the next 10 years.
Well,
That's
yeah,
just
I
my
mean
opinion.
the city bought the Wells Fargo downtown, that big Wells Fargo, that space that was the Wells Fargo Bank. The city has that property now. City Hall at some point will be vacant when we move to the new City Hall, so that's a whole new space right there. I mean, there's lots of future development opportunities for the downtown area. But again, I look at District 6, and what people would look at it and go, oh, well, District 6 doesn't have this, doesn't have that. That makes it more ripe for the opportunity to build it. But, I just met with the developer who owns the Kmart space and, looked at his rendering for what he wants to bring there. So, when they want to build a grocery store there, I'm like, well, why don't we put a bank in there? Why don't we put a pharmacy in there? Why don't we just kill all three birds with one stone and build it here? I've talked to Floyd Mayweather about a skating ring. Where can we bring a skating rink to Stockton? We put that in my district. Why don't we have different things? I know Fred from Stan is I think he has some plans to build a senior living and community space right there in the middle of Ralph and Airport. I mean, I'm sorry, Airport and 8th. So again, there's so many moving parts to it, but to your point, I mean, just the overarching goal of economic and community development is a priority for this council, but there's so many moving parts to it. I will say though, Stockton is, when you talk about safety, all the numbers in public safety are much better compared to last year's, but Stockton's also fighting a narrative, right? Like it's fighting this narrative that people believe Stockton is this or that, and I
I
think that we have to be able to turn the page by creating experiences and content that shows otherwise.
So I have to do it
so
myself pretty much for the startup thing.
I
I sorry to interrupt, Nelson. I have to get this last point out. I think
oh that
you're right about monopoly money. Is that you can bring out these good ideas, but it's like who's going to do the maintenance, who's going to do the financing, like all that, and that's a good point. So I guess with the startup came from Stockton instead of like, okay, so nobody wants to come here. What if someone walked up to you, Mr. Lee, and said, all right, so 3 years, say time advances, yada, technology goes on. They're like, hey, can I make a startup here for like, cybersecurity, whatever you want to call it? So it's like, oh, wow. So it's like pretty much someone with their own money, small business, right? So their small business is doing exactly that. Would that be possible, like a permit? Like, how would someone go about doing that?
Yeah, I
If I
mean,
can't get them
people come up to me with ideas all the time. I mean, I refer them to staff, and I tell staff to walk them through the process. I mean, and they do. And then I just got one the other day of bringing an amazing business to my district. But I turn that over to staff because staff. I do policy. I bring opportunity. Staff does the work, right? And I don't do the work. I don't do business permitting and licenses and all that. I don't even get in the weeds of that. But I do bring people to the city and introduce them to the right people so they can get their businesses moving.
so it can be
so I
done?
have a so I do have a
Yeah.
tough question. So we have, obviously, you've seen Wilson Way, you know about Highway 4, you've seen the issues with prostitution in Stockton. What realistically can we do to, I guess, mitigate the issue? And is there any way possible where it, like, essentially we could legalize it and then tax it? Because, like, states like Nevada have done. No,
I
like
mean, no.
realistically.
Listen, legalizing prostitution that's a California state law thing. I don't think the city is going to put an ordinance together to legalize prostitution. I mean, legal prostitution is on OnlyFans.com. I mean, people
There
walking
you
out
go.
on the streets. There's people who feel like their kids shouldn't see it. Thankfully, Harding Way is not in my district. Highway 4 is not in my district, and even Charter Way on the at the stop on the other side of the district is not in my district. However, I do know that the sheriff and the police department has addressed
Enforcement
that. I mean,
checks.
people walking nude on the streets. Listen, I think that OnlyFans created an opportunity for sex workers to monetize their content in a safe space. People who are still walking the streets like it's the '80s, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm not going to say that I would support legalizing street prostitution. Because ultimately, I got families with kids who they don't want to see that shit, and I don't necessarily want them to see it either.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, I think we'd be talking more about a certain zoned area when it would only be in that.
Sort of
A
like a
red
Uber
light
pickup
district
at
in
the airport. I
Stockton.
mean, I don't really know what
No,
that
no,
looks like. Again.
like a red light district with like buildings
Okay, listen,
specifically
I'm getting
for
ready to get
red
out of here
light
because
districts.
this interview is going
Okay.
into a whole different. But let me say this: I do believe at some point when it comes to the unhoused crisis that we have in the city, we as a city do need to do a better job of really having a stronger plan. That is a more methodical plan. I will say, Councilwoman Padilla recently asked me for my support to help her come up with some plans, and we've come up with some very brief conversations about how we should address it. Because when you talk about a red light district, right now we have unhoused people all over the city, and there are challenges with respect to safety. We had an officer that was shot at by an unhoused person. When you talk about our parks, I said at the council meeting the other day when somebody said, "Oh, they're evicting people from our parks." Don't nobody have a house at the park, homeless or not. These parks that have been, millions of dollars to revive historical parks like McKinley and Victory Park, we're not going to lose that to people who believe they can just go and set up shop and burn our parks down. We're giving the parks back to the kids and their families, and there's a lot of work going into that. And anytime I see anything other than that, I make sure to send staff a message.
Awesome.
Last
All right. Go ahead.
question. So we have a small production company called Shady Mob Productions. We started it last year in February. Alex and I both started our shows back in January. For a small production company like ours, trying to grow, make it big, I've finally been able to monetize my channel. I'm at like almost 12,000 subscribers, over almost 200,000 views. What do you recommend, or not recommend? What advice do you give us to be able to make it in your industry?
Yeah, I get asked this question everywhere I go and when I'm speaking or whatever, and I simplified the solution. And I'm not doing promo. I'm not forcing anybody to do it, but I have a whole course on how I monetize my brand, everything from A to Z. It's mediamillionaires.com, and it's $47. It's all there. Mediamillionaires.com. That is my way of mentoring people because I don't have the time to mentor people and say, oh, I did this, but I literally walk people through how I started my company and monetize every platform. And all these different social media platforms, TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook. You worked at Meta, you know how that goes. You can make millions of dollars from digital media, but it's a grind for sure. And right now the space is very cluttered, but there's content that can break through and be very niche. You see it in Stockton. There's people with creating content like you guys who are figuring it out. But I think what I see in Stockton is a lot of people, when you be very clear on what your intention is. I got into the space of creating an audience and driving culture, but also making money. And I always ask people when they come to me and say, "Oh, I want to do this deal with you," or a country will come to me and say, "Oh, I want to do this deal with you." I always think two things: how is this going to build my audience, and how am I going to make money? And if the questions or the answers that they give me don't check those two boxes, I don't care how shiny it is, I'm out.
Makes sense.
Right. Right.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Well, Jason, do your plugs. Anything you want to promote? Anything upcoming?
Nah, I just appreciate you inviting me on. You know, Jack, I saw you along the way during the campaign. I love your criticism. I watch it all. You know, I don't, I love it all. And I think that this is an important part of the process. Having us on, I saw you had the mayor on. I was a little jealous that I didn't beat her to it, but, you know, I'm following in the mayor's footsteps. I think everybody should come here and answer questions. I don't think there should ever be a warning of a hard question or a tough question. Just ask the
Yeah.
question. If people don't have answers, they shouldn't be there. But I'll come back. Let me know when I'm welcome back. I got to run to a
Oh,
late dinner though.
absolutely, you know, and feel free to reach out any time. You know, if there's
I got to
something.
meet that dark web guy whose face I haven't seen. You know, I hear the voice.
Yeah, well, you know, he's doing top secret work for a secret government agency, and so we're forced, you know, to
Area 51 type shit, man. You don't know.
warn a
I,
secrecy.
I I I love it. He's just the voice of reason in the background. I love it.
It's a good gimmick.
I'll put it simply. I'm the guy you pay to protect you from the
All right,
boogeyman.
Jason. Hey, thank you so much for coming on.
Of
It was
course.
awesome, and yeah, we'll definitely have you back next week.
Appreciate you answering all my questions, man. Thank you.
Anytime. No, let's keep this going. I'll come back.
All right.
Thanks for the advice, by the way.
Thank
Th-
you. Of
Thanks
course,
a
man.
lot. Check you out
Bye.
later.
Later, Chief.
All right.
That was
All right,
awesome.
everybody. That was Jason Lee.
I finally got my answer. I have to do it myself. If they won't
Facts.
come here, then you gotta do it yourself.
If you want anything done
That,
right, you usually have to do it
I gotta
yourself.
give me
So.
that fucking monopoly money.
brother, that's advice you should use for the rest of your life. Go do it yourself because
Yeah,
ain't
man.
nobody gonna do it
They're
for you,
not gonna
dog.
come here, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make the city money myself. All right, man. It's like
That's
this.
why Jack started Port City Uncensored. He had to do it himself because ain't
That's
nobody
a
gonna
good
start it
point.
for him.
That's a good
Right,
point.
right. And so, Scotty,
Yeah.
would you have
Hmm?
a tip
I've
for the
got
folks
plenty. It's
this
funny.
week?
It's funny you should mention that. So, I went to Rite Aid earlier today to get me some fucking snacks because I'm a snackaholic because I Oh yeah, she's not here.
There you go.
I think another thing Mr. Lee said very well is that like he already has people in his area that are like watching his six and like, oh, I already know about all this, and I'm not shocked that he knows about it because he's in Hollywood. I mean, yeah, of course they're gonna know about that because you got people who stalk you online, fucking paparazzi, TMZ, shit like that. But I'm talking more about the average Joe that doesn't have the money or the connections in order to get that kind of security. Everybody wants security. Not everybody's gonna get it. But the fucked up part is everybody needs it because it's so ingrained into your daily life. Can you really go on with an entire day without looking at your phone or checking your email or anything like that? Just completely disconnected from using any technology. Do you think you could do that for a week, a month, a year? No, you can't because our daily life forces us to use it. This entire fucking podcast relies on the internet. The people watching this is because we have the internet to thank for that. But it's a two-way fucking mirror. It's like you can look into it, but someone else can look into your mirror at the same time.
Right.
So what everyone should be worrying about is that Lee pretty much said that if the vice mayor already knows about this shit, why don't you already know it? You shouldn't be having to hear it from me, right? You should already know this shit, but you're hearing it from a guy like me. So I'm pretty much someone who's it's my nature to protect. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how to say that any more straight faced, but that's kind of why I'm doing this, because why I'm on this podcast, why I'm training for this is because I like helping people, but I feel the strong urge to protect them. It's like I've seen what I've seen that's out there, and it's I can't really, I don't know how to put this, sit idly by. Well, it could happen to someone I know. All right, so it's like. If your mother was in the hospital right now and she's in the ICU unit, do you have any idea how fucked it would be if that hospital got hit by a ransomware attack and it cut out their power? And guess what? Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, you couldn't do shit to stop that.
Right.
You know why that happened? Because someone had shitty security. Someone clicked a fucked up email, and now their system got fucked. And now there's no power, and emergency power doesn't reach someone who's in getting emergency surgery. Oh no, I can't see. Cut. Deep. I mean, I make it sound like a fucking joke, but it's some real shit, man. It's all fun and games until someone you know dies from this. Oh yeah, it reminds me earlier, the lady I was talking about, I met at Rite Aid. She was getting gift cards for her son, but the thing is, she's been scammed before. You know how they got it? They impersonated someone she knew, and she's like, "Oh, I need some money, mom." Like it was someone she like a nephew or something, and they sent the information. Guess what? They sounded like her son. They had the same number. They had all the right information. Because like, how do you know you're my son? Well, guess what? You have all your life on social media, so I know what you do on the weekends. You're always out going to parties or some shit. I know where you work because you take pictures of it. So it's like, you're not safe. You're not fucking safe at all. Why? If I sound paranoid, it's because I am paranoid. You're not safe at all, bro.
Right.
Feel free to ask me questions, though, because I really hone in when people ask me specifics. So you guys should ask me questions.
Well, I just want to put it out there. We'll be doing your regular segment here on the show every week. You'll be giving the folks a tip on cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And for anybody out there listening that might have an issue or might have a question about this, maybe you're a small business getting started and concerned about your IT setup, feel free to send us an email here at portcityuncensored@gmail.com, and we'll forward it over to Scotty. Just put attention, Scotty, and tell us what the issue is, and we'll see if we can't help you out. How's that? All right. So,
I like that.
Yeah.
Go hit up my boy Scotty for your cybersecurity tips, ladies and gentlemen.
Audio and engineering.
All right. So yeah. In other news, we went to see a wrestling card last Saturday.
Yes, we did. That was fucking a banger-rooney, baby.
And
we had the time of our lives.
Here's
That's Asesino versus Wolves 209, baby. Right there in the corner. I was trying to see it on the top.
yeah, Nelson, you and me. Yeah,
Jeez.
we had a good
That was
time.
a banger. That was a father-son duo right there. Boat, the one with the hair, is the
Uh-huh.
son who got bloodied earlier, and
Right.
then Swole is the bald-headed dude that lost the match. But in my honest opinion, Swole and Giga Herrera, who I actually interviewed this week, a couple days ago on
Oh,
N1
okay,
from the
cool.
Enza. What's it called? Stole the night for me. You remember Giga, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Firebelly, he was fucking awesome. He
Oh,
made the
yeah.
little boy cry twice.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's also got a hell of a pitching arm, too. So I found
Yeah,
that out directly, but yeah, that's a whole other story.
I gotta know. I gotta figure that out.
Yeah,
You gotta
but
tell. You gotta tell us.
yeah, we had a good time, and yeah, thanks to the Total Wrestling Federation (TWF) for bringing their shows here to Stockton at Eagles Hall. And as I said, they'll be back here in January for the Fight for Franklin, the third annual fundraiser for Franklin High School wrestling team. And so, yeah, and what I want to do, and we just had Jason here, should have brought it up with him, but I want to issue a challenge because the first Fight for Franklin they had, Christina Fugazi was there, showed up. She had a great time, and we missed her last year, but now this third one coming up, I would like to see the entire city council show up to this thing. This is a fundraiser for high school athletes right here in Stockton, okay? And I think as we get closer to the date in January, in the weeks coming up to it, I think this is something we're going to be harping on a little bit to
You know what
remind
you should
them.
do? You should tell Christina directly, because Christina, since she's the mayor and you got that connection, she could probably get the pull and get everybody to go.
Oh, I'll let her know, and we'll let them all know. And I know the city's got budget problems, and maybe
Should
the
do it on
paychecks
camera
are a
too, by the
little
way.
late. If it's a problem with the tickets, $20. Don't worry, guys. I got you. We got you covered. But we want to see you there. We want to see all of you there supporting our local athletes at Franklin High School. So, that
You
being
should
said,
you should ask her on camera. By the way, it's a
well,
lot harder to say no on
I'm
camera.
doing that now. In fact, this will be the first, and like I said, we'll be harping on it more as we get closer. It's a few months away, so but we will be reminding them and talking about it. And yeah, trust me, they will know. They will know as long as I'm around. They will know. So
We'll
yeah.
show up to the city council meeting. Just propose it to them right there in front of everybody.
That'd
Another
be a
way
good
to do it.
idea. Yeah, maybe you and I need to crash that meeting one of these Tuesdays. So.
I'm kind of down for that, buddy. You just gotta let me know when, J-Man, and we'll rock out, baby.
Yeah, I'll let you know when the next one is for sure. Yeah, we can do that. So, all right. So, Alex, how you doing? What's new in Florida?
I'm good, man. It's just been raining a lot.
Oh,
We were
really?
gonna have a storm, but they fly over. But yeah, man, it's pretty cool. It was a cool interview. You guys asked Jason Lee some questions. I didn't expect him to be here. I didn't know that he was going to be on the show when I pulled up. So I was just like, oh shit. You guys have more Stockton related questions, and you were probably more interested in.
I'll be real with you.
I just
So
I'm just listening.
since I was running a little bit behind, because we were finishing up a couple things that we were working on for our channel together. I tuned into your show, so when I saw Jason show up at the beginning, I'm like, oh, he's here. He actually showed up today. So I was excited. I was ready to go. And J-Man, thank you for offering me the opportunity to
Oh,
ask him
hell
a
yeah.
very hard-nosed questions that I thought everybody should get answers to.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a good segment, and yeah, again, we're thankful he came on, and yeah, we'll have him back for sure.
He gave me the green light. You know what that was, boys? Do it yourself.
What is that?
Yeah. I mean,
There you go, Scotty. I think that's
yeah.
more or less for all of everybody who ever wants to aspire to anything in life.
Right.
Do it yourself.
Sometimes handouts they're just not there. So you just have to take it in your own hands.
Yeah.
Grab life by the bulls and fucking go, baby.
Yeah. Okay, so Nelson, what's coming up with football weekend? Any good picks?
So let's see. Let's actually bring up the schedule, and then I will actually be dropping my official picks here in the next couple of days. Today we had the Dolphins face off against the Bills. They got mollywop 31-21. Not a real big surprise there. Josh Allen doing his thing. In regards to actually not just football, let's talk about WWE. They're hosting WrestlePalooza this Saturday.
Yeah, I saw that.
On ESPN. So I thought, since I was WW, or I still have my cable subscription, because I have my cable subscription and because I already have ESPN Plus, I thought I could just watch WrestlePalooza. I think I might still be able to watch it with an ESPN Plus subscription, but after reading this article on NFL, on not NFL, but on Awful Announcing, ESPN confirms large swath of cable subs won't have access to WrestlePalooza without additional payment, which means
Really?
you have to pay for the unlimited plan, which means you still got to pay for like ESPN Plus or some sort of plan to
Mm-hmm.
be able to stream WrestlePalooza, which I think is crazy. I don't know if I'm gonna have to pay because I have both, but if I still have to pay, even though I'm a ESPN plus cable subscriber, I'm gonna be really pissed off. I haven't completely dove into that, but that's fucking just insane.
Wow.
They're yeah. Oh, also they're trying to price out regular fans like you and I out of WWE events at this point. They're also cutting back on their production. So this past week on Monday Night Raw, one of the things that I noticed was, you know how they have the big ass Titantron and
Uh-huh.
like pyrotechnics and everything.
Yeah.
So that was basically completely gone. It was just a small
Really?
Titantron. Dude, it was so small. Like literally it felt like it was 1996, 1994. Like with the like they were just coming out of like the locker room or out
Uh-huh.
of the tunnel, and
Yeah.
just a small little Titantron and like just small. So the TKO, what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut back costs and raise prices, and that also includes raising the prices for WWE live events, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown. So it's more like the UFC fan base that comes to the shows, those people, rather than just average Joes like you and I, which I also think is crazy.
Yeah, and I believe they were talking about it on Vince Russo's podcast this week also, like the ticket prices. Yeah, they're jacking up the prices and cutting back production. It's like they want to give us less for more.
Oh, a
It
thousand percent.
stinks. It
And
stinks.
what's his name? His Excellency Turkey Alasheet. I think that's his name. He's just been popping up everywhere with TKO. Basically, WrestleMania is going to be hosted out in Saudi Arabia in 2027, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Then we also have basically for that card, The Rock is supposedly gonna have to come back and wrestle in that big money match. We also had like him for some reason being the one of the promoters, I guess, for the Canelo Crawford fight, even though it was in Las Vegas. I guess they're trying to do some sort. So TKO is doing some sort of partnership deal. It seems like with the Saudi Arabian. Investors, it seems like heavy investors. So there's I don't know, that's something to monitor if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
Money's
it's
money, man.
so so anyway, bottom line, are you going to be able to watch it? It was a Saturday.
I'm hoping I can. I'll probably will, but I hope it's not at any additional cost.
So you won't know until Saturday then.
I won't really know until Saturday when I actually try to watch it.
Try to watch it.
I won't try
Wow.
to really know until then. Hopefully, because I'm a ESPN Plus subscriber and I'm a cable subscriber, they won't have to take more money from my pocket. But we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm not gonna subscribe to something prematurely, if that makes sense.
Right. Right. Got it. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Money, money, money. That's what it's all about.
You boys should focus on getting your own little pot of monopoly money, so that way you don't have to wait for the money or business to come to you, and you just fucking do it yourself. I don't know about you guys, but I feel pretty fucking fired up to start doing this shit myself now. Now I've got a reason to start taking training seriously. I'll put it like this. I like to. Well, it's not even really about the money at that point. It's more like I like being the person that people can turn to in situations like that because I actually have the ability to protect. I guess I don't know about you guys, but there's just something about the male instinct to protect those they can't protect themselves. That be screaming at me or some shit. I don't know. It's just that when you can do what other people can't, do you just sit idly by or do you act? The duality of man. What do you think, Alex? You look like a philosophical guy.
I totally agree with you, man. There's two sides to each coin. I mean, like, which type of guy
Yeah,
are you? What
I've
are
seen
you,
what
a
the other
fight?
side of the
Are you
coin
a
can do.
fight or a flight
No.
guy? So really just, I mean, it's all circumstantial. But if you feel like you're the type of person to go out and protect others, I feel like anybody should empower not only you, but you should empower yourself to do so. You don't need a green light from Mr. Lee or anybody, or even your family or whatever. It all has to come from within.
To start my own
And
business in this city so
It
right,
should
people
be
can walk in
it
and be
should be
like,
your
hey,
only
fix
sense
it.
of self-validation, Scotty. You don't need anybody's approval to go out there and pursue your dreams or help
I need
anybody
a
out.
it
permit
seems
though.
like
I
you're at the
actually
end.
need the permit. That's actually something I do need so I can operate as a
Well,
small
there's
business by
feelings for that,
myself. I
right?
kind of can't just keep
Permit,
it on my
permit.
ass.
Oh,
That's
bro,
their
if
shit.
you want to start your own business, that's only like a couple
Yeah,
$100.
that's what I
But
was talking about. Like, I don't need someone's permission to go and be fucking internet Batman. I'm talking about like in order to not get fucked over by the IRS trying to make this a legitimate business. Yeah, I kind of have to get a permit, my own LLC, like that kind of business shit. I'm not really trained in that. You're talking to a guy. Yeah, I don't know if
oh,
you
we'll
guys
help
know
you with
the
that, bud.
fuck samurais train with swords. That's pretty much me. All I do is train with they shit. So I don't know how to. I don't know business. I put all my skill points into
Oh, Scotty,
computers.
you can talk to the boys. We got you, Scotty. We could help
Yeah.
with whatever we've done.
Your
We've kind of done like two businesses, huh, Alex?
yeah. You got to
Yeah.
get your permit down. Pretty much everything that you need to.
Bro,
You
whatever you need, we can talk about this off air so we can actually get your goal and your vision rolling, bro. Because I like you, Scotty. We can help promote you too, bud.
Yeah, for sure.
If I'm being
Yeah,
honest
I
with you guys,
love
I'm
you
starting to
too,
Hey,
Hey,
Scotty.
Donna.
everybody, Donna is here. Donna, what's going
Hi,
on?
Donna.
I'm sick. Hi, guys. I'm
How are you
sorry.
feeling? How are you feeling, first of all? Are you feeling
I'm
better?
still, I'm still under the weather, but I
Oh,
just wanted to tell you guys did good tonight. Yay!
well, thank you. Thank you for coming on. Okay.
We
Uh,
appreciate you, Donna.
yeah.
I
What?
appreciate you guys too. Thank you for your support as well, for supporting me. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, of course. Any open houses this weekend? Anything worth
I put
mentioning?
some up on the internet. Um, for this weekend on Facebook, but
Uh,
I
Oh,
don't.
that's
I'm
okay.
still sick.
All right. Well, yeah. We want you to get better, but yeah, please do post whatever you got going on, and we'll absolutely share it and get the word out for you.
Yeah. Hi, Nelson. So quiet.
hi, Donna. Nice to finally meet you in person.
Yeah.
In person.
I know. I have to see you one day.
Hopefully someday we'll meet. But hey, I love the ad that you did with J Man for your real estate. I love it. You guys were spot on.
Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah, we had
thank
fun
you
doing
so
that.
much.
Yeah, we had fun doing that. Oh.
That's
All right,
awesome, dude.
guys. Well, I'll tell you what. We did a good show tonight. About our usual hour and a half. It seems that seems to be our modus operandi. So
Hey,
let's go
it
around the
was a
room.
hell of a show, J Man.
Everybody, do your plugs. Alex, anything you want to promote?
guys, check out Shady Mob Productions, A&A Radio, anyone from the End Zone Smacks, as well on Twitch. My dad also has just made a cooking channel. It's called Don Chi Chi Cooking. He
Oh,
does like
really?
steaks, ribs. Yeah, man. He just started recently doing this past month, and what's it called? Yeah, he's on Instagram, YouTube, and I'm trying to get him on Facebook as well. So he's doing his like side thing, and it's good. It's going, man. He has a lot of views, a couple thousand views on Reels, and then yeah, go ahead check out our stuff as well. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Honestly, it really has. I'll definitely do next time on here. I'll talk a little bit more. I just wasn't prepared for Mr. Lee to pop up, but yeah,
That's okay.
I'll talk more. And then,
Yeah, your dad's channel, is it a particular type of cuisine that he
it's
specializes in, or?
it's really just whatever he like. It's a spur of the moment. What one day he made tomahawk steaks. He grilled them up, just showed him how to like prepare. Slice up the unnecessary bits. And then he made ribs the other day. I helped him out film that. They turned out amazing, really good. I had shit, bro. I had like
What's the channel? Let us know, and we'll go see them ribs, baby boy.
Don
yeah,
Chi.
Don Chi. Yeah, that's his little.
All right, yeah, we'll definitely check that out. Yeah, anybody interested in
check it
food,
out.
cooking,
Good
yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
We're helping him out with some reels, so we're just trying to get him up there.
All right, awesome. We'll check that out. Nelson, what are you plugging
Go
today?
check out shadymob.com. You will find all of our channels listed there, including Port City Uncensored, baby, where we hosted tonight Jason Lee, which was amazing. J-Man, you did a phenomenal job, brother. Also,
Thank
go
you.
check out N1 from the N_zone on Instagram, TikTok, other platforms. Same with Shady Mob Podcast, Shady Mob Productions, and others. And with that being said, J-Man, I hand it back to you, brother.
All right, and Donna, I know we just talked to you about the real estate, and people can reach you at pmz.com, correct?
Yes.
All right, so look for that. If anybody's looking for a house, or if you got a house that you want to sell, got to call Donna. She'll get it done for you. All right, and for me, well,
Oh, is it harvest season?
the show might start at 8, but it's always 4:20 here. Okay,
Very nice.
and we will be having our harvest show coming up here in October, and yeah, that's still in the planning stage a
Awesome.
little
I'm
bit,
excited.
but yeah, so yeah, it is in the works. And any last words, Scotty?
Yep.
Any final?
More philosophical than anything. Oh,
Scotty the philosophizer.
Well, my advice, ladies and gents, is to lock the doors, close the windows, and whenever you hear what goes bump at night, don't answer the fucking door, and hold your loved ones close, because there are monsters out there, outside your house, and also on the fucking internet. So the reason why I'm paranoid is because you can be sleeping, doing everything perfectly fine, and yet still your social security number gets leaked and your bank account gets drained. It's like yada yada. It's like you can do everything right and still get fucked over. So my advice is that it's gonna get worse, yeah, but you can get prepared. So my advice is what was that one good? There's one good quote I hear: "Rage against the dying of the light." So yeah, that's all we got really. Is protect your light, whatever that is in your life. Is protect it. Whatever makes you happy, keeps you sane, or keeps you sane. Whatever makes life bearable, I guess, whether it's, I don't know, a podcast, your family, or anything, really, whatever brings you joy, just hold on to that because life's a storm and we're all weathering it. So that's my advice, is that don't focus on the shit that doesn't matter. Focus on the people that do matter because your car will still be here in 50 years. The people you love won't.
All right, great words.
Scotty the philosophizer, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Well, on that note, folks, we're going to be checking out. Again, if you have questions, comments, dirty jokes, please reach out to us. And
I have a few dirty jokes myself, but I'll save it for next time.
all right. Well, you can send them to the email right there, portcityuncensored@gmail.com. And yeah, let us know what you think of the show. And of course, we're here every Thursday. We'll be back next Thursday at 8. And on that note, I think we are going to say good night. Thank you guys for all coming on. And we'll see you all later.
Hit the like button.